How you doing, YouTubers? Jerry here. I've had a few people ask me over the past years, how long have I been doing this um, for the Chester County Fire and EMS. I started it back in 2009 when it was RadioReference.com, and I started doing the online feed. Yeah, back in 2009, almost 2010. Um, on my radio reference license, it says that I started back in 2010, but actually it was almost 2010. I think it was like December of 2009 I started it, and I've basically been listening to scanners back in high since I was back in high school. Couldn't wait to get home from school and listen. It just grew with me. Like any other video I said, I'm 40 now, and yeah, this was back in high school. This was back when Chester County just had the single digit police frequencies, low band fire. I believe the West Police was like 155.760, and the East Police. Let me see if I can remember. Hold on, let me see if I can remember. The East Police Dispatch was 154.740, and the Central Police was 154.785. And that's actually back when the system was a lot better. I actually liked having the police just on three frequencies like that. That was awesome. The only thing I did not like was the fire. They ran on the fire dispatch channel of 33.90. And Chester County, Lancaster County, York County, Lebanon County all used that same dispatch channel. Sometimes at once, and it was really annoying because you get Chester County dispatch, and next thing you know, Lancaster County's dispatch, and their stations along with them. You got York County coming in there with the dispatch, and it just gets crazy. So I'm actually glad that they actually switched that part. Coatesville Fire had their own fire repeater, which is I don't know if it's still being used or not in this day and age. It was 154.150, and that was basically the whole city of Coatesville's fire right there. And as soon as Coatesville would get a fire call, everybody would be on that channel, and you wouldn't hear anything on the low band. They would set up command right there on that. They called it the Coatesville High Band. That's what it was. And basically, every part of the county had their own high band. Mink was in Downingtown. They had 154.310 for their fire high band, and all of Downingtown used that when there was a fire. East Brandywine had their own. I forget what they are though. Coatesville's car to car for police used to be 156.150. I'm using that. That's all in my head. I still remember that. Callan Township was 158.820. I remember all that. Yeah, I still remember it all, just like it was yesterday. That was the good old days. It was like back in the probably 80s and 90s, growing up listening to the scanner. In school, couldn't wait to get home. Could listen to that scanner, you know what I mean? First scanner my mom ever bought me, I was happy. And then she regretted it afterwards because of the fire tones and everything. Yeah, I used to love it. Still do. Then Chester County went to the E.F. Johnson system. That was a non-trunkable radio communications right there. That was a bullshit design that I call it. Everybody else calls it EFJ for EF junk. EF junk is right. it was a good system if you had one of their radios. Um, One of my friends, his name's Steve. I won't mention no last name or nothing, but I actually got in contact with him through Radio Reference on the forums, and bought an E.F. Johnson 8615 mobile unit off of him, and that worked awesome. I loved it. That was tracking the whole system, police, fire, and EMS. I even had it on the feed there for a while. It worked for, I don't know, I guess about 2 or 3 years. And all of a sudden they wanted to do this rebanding. That threw me offline right there. Everybody that had an E.F. Johnson radio that wasn't authorized basically to have one, you couldn't get the rebanding done, and basically that radio I couldn't get the rebanding done anyway because they couldn't handle the flash for the radio. Them radios, you gotta flash them in order for it to be able to program it to the right specs. And you gotta have a rib cable, a programming part of the rib cable, plug that into your COM port on your computer and into the back of the radio or front of the radio, and program it that way. In the meantime, you got to flash the hardware that's inside the radio so that it can correspond with the proper software and hardware of the radio. And that's where all that went wrong for me. Steve didn't have he had the right equipment, but you needed an E.F. Johnson ES, like 5100 radio, just in order to flash it. In order to reband it, and he actually had a couple of the E.F. Johnson ES 5300s, I believe, or something like that, 5100, 5300, and he actually had them working. I think he sold them though. And after that, a short while later, now they have the Harris system, which is a very nice system. I like it. My scanner talks constantly. I might miss a few things a day. I don't really care, though. I mean, it's basically just for the online listeners. I did the best part of spending $1,500 on this new system just to keep up with county. It wasn't a big mistake. I don't think it was. I'll be able to make that money back in no time. But anyway, I think it's a pretty good P25 system they got. It's good. It's steady. I like the way it sounds. Everything sounds good on it. The only thing I don't like is how the conventional channels are off of the P25. That throws a conflict because your radio's got to jump out of the P25 system to the channels you have programmed in conventional, and then it jumps back onto the P25 back and forth, like all the time. And that happens in 1 second increments, or however long you have it set to scan that. I think in my radio I have it set for 1 second. So it just it jumps off of the P25 for a second and jumps right back on again. It's just checking for any radio activity on the conventionals, which is 8Ches91 all the way down to 8Ches94. Then you got your FD1, FD1 digital, FD2, and then FD2 digital. They're all programmed in there also, and ready to talk whenever they are. But yeah, I spent quite a bit of money on this system just to keep up with the Joneses, keep up with Chester County. And I bought the radio for $400. The antenna was like $970 from yeah. That's confidential. But and I got a lightning arrestor, so it doesn't get hit by lightning. Times microwave LMR 400 coax cable, which is a real thick stuff. That's not solid copper. The conductor inside is not solid copper. It's stranded. They told me to go with the stranded, so I went with the stranded. And the coax was probably about $110, $120. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening.